It's time to release your inner demon with Primal for the PS2. Primal is a third-person action-adventure game released on March 25th, 2003 in North America. It was developed by SCE Studio Cambridge and published by Sony Computer Entertainment. You take on the role of Jennifer Tate, a nice girl with a nice sense of humor. After attending your boyfriend Lewis's concert, he is kidnapped by a demon, leaving Jennifer mortally wounded. Jennifer is awakened later only to find that she's having an out-of-body experience, courtesy of a little gargoyle named Scree requiring her help. With the use of a rift gate, which looks an awful lot like a Stargate, Scree takes Jennifer.
Stop calling me Jennifer. You sound like my stepdad. It's Jen.
Scree takes Jen to the Nexus, a sort of central station that draws power from 4 realms. 2 align with Abaddon, who brings chaos and suffering, and 2 align with Arella, who seeks order and justice. Abaddon has upset the natural balance between the realms, so it's up to Jen and Scree to return the balance to the Nexus and find Lewis. Each realm is unique and different from the others. You have Solemn, a world of eternal winter and night inhabited by the noble Farai. Aquis, a world filled with lakes and lush underwater caverns, inhabited by the gentle Undyne. Athea, a realm with never-ending rain and inhabited by the cruel Wraith. And Volca, a harsh realm inhabited by the hostile Jinn. The story is very well written, and interesting enough to make you want to play just a little bit more, just to get to another cutscene. The banter between Scree and Jen is quite humorous, and has a very similar style to that of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
So, how do I get him off?
You don't.
And this guy wants me to trust him.
The gameplay consists primarily of exploring the vast realms, navigating environmental puzzles, and combat. At any time you can switch between Scree for climbing along walls, and Jen for combat, by hitting the select button. While the AI does a fairly well job controlling the other character, there are times when they get stuck on the train. At various times, Jen and Scree will become separated, and you'll have to find a different way to get one or both characters through an area to progress. You can rejoin together with the use of summoning stones. Numerous puzzles use this element. These styles of puzzles are clever and can leave you scratching your head. The environments are relatively huge and interesting, yet stages aren't interrupted by loading screens. Once you load your game, you're free to explore. To get where you need to go, you can use your map, which shows an icon for your destination, or use the triangle button to ask Scree for a hint. The hint is revealing enough to point you in the right direction, but vague enough as not to ruin it for you.
Hey, Scree. What do you think we should be doing now?
We need to find the entrance to the Jinn Temple.
Various puzzles require you to find lodestones that Scree can use to possess statues, allowing him to move them. The puzzles are pretty straightforward. However, it's very easy to overlook something. For instance, you get a rope early on in the game that Jen can use to climb down. Then more than halfway through the game, I got stuck at a spot where I knew I had to get Jen down from a ledge somehow. And with no inventory system to select a rope, I exhausted every which way, only to have Scree drop a rope randomly after pressing X. Another instance where I found myself befuddled was in a dungeon with a locked door that needed a key. However, this being the first door halfway through the game that needs a key, you wouldn't know it. The lack of an interaction icon can leave you confounded and often overlooking something, unlike in other games such as Resident Evil 4. The combat is quite engaging. You use the 2 shoulder buttons to attack while using R1 to block incoming attacks. You also have a spin attack for when you're outnumbered. By holding the attack buttons for a longer time, you increase the damage of your attacks, while tapping the buttons will execute a quicker but weaker attack. There are various combos you can perform as well as counterattacks. When your foe is near death, you tap both attack buttons to perform a finishing maneuver. However, if you take too long to execute, their health replenishes, which can get quite annoying. The fighting takes the Bruce Lee approach, where one foe will attack at a time. However, there will be times when the enemies gang up on you. Slayed foes leave behind Primal energy, which Jen uses to maintain her demon form. Scree can also carry Primal energy as a reserve that you can draw from when needed. Gems can be found that replenish your Primal energy once it's depleted automatically. Run out of Primal energy and it's game over. You can change your demon form by pressing on the directional pad. Certain puzzles require you to switch forms to utilize your special abilities. When in Farai form, you run faster and jump higher, allowing you to reach new heights. Your Undyne form allows you to swim and breathe underwater. The Wraith form grants you the ability to slow down time, to gain the drop on enemies or solve puzzles. The Jin form specializes in whoop-assery, utilizing 2 blades and yet an even more powerful sword. The camera can be disorienting when moving up or down stairs, but once you get used to it, you'll forget about it. As awesome as transforming to your demon form is, the first time, it gets kinda old, especially when you have to do it constantly. It leaves you wishing it was quicker like in Devil May Cry, as it can take some time. Aside from the nitpicking, the overall feel of the controls feels solid and responsive. The superb acting really brings the characters of Jin and Sri alive, making the story much more interesting and enjoyable.
We can wait. Who has dared disturb us while the mountain sleeps? I only hope.
The ambience of the varied realms are all consistent and fit the environments. The combat music doesn't take a backseat in this game. It's loud and in your face, feeling the action and truly capturing a Primal feel. For being released 6 years ago, Primal holds up pretty well graphically, exhibiting fluid character animations and nice weather, fire, and real-time shadow effects. There are a good number of art and behind-the-scenes featurettes about the voice actors, the making of, and 16 Volt, the band that supplied the combat music. Final thoughts. Although there isn't much replayability, this is a title you can easily find yourself playing through again just to relive the story. If you're not into exploring games, then your money is best spent elsewhere. You can find Primal on eBay anywhere from $3 used to $12 new. Truly an underrated game in the PS2 library that shouldn't be overlooked by anyone looking for a game with lovable characters and enjoyable story. I give it a thumbs up.